Good morning, everyone. This is Pastor John with another edition, with our final edition, actually, of our follow-up videos to our We Are the Church series, where we've been kind of exploring the meaning and the purpose of Christian worship, and hopefully you have learned a few things. Hopefully it's caused you to ask some questions, but this will be our final video today, and then I'll go back to my normal Monday morning quarterbacks, my shorter videos next week. So during the sermon yesterday, I shared an excerpt from a prayer by a Catholic priest named Ken Untner. He wrote this prayer in 1979, but it's still very relevant to us today. And in the prayer, he writes, "This is what we are about. We plant seeds that will one day grow. We water seeds already planted, knowing that they hold promise. We lay foundations that will need further development. We provide yeast that produces far beyond our capabilities. We may never see the results, but that's the difference between a master builder and the worker. We are workers, not master builders, ministers, not messiahs. We are prophets of a future not our own." That line blows me away. This prayer is part of the Compline liturgy that I pray every night before I go to sleep. So I read this prayer every night, and every time I get to that line, we are prophets of a future not our own, I just sort of have to stop and remember that, because I wonder how many of us really understand that. And how many of us really believe that? Everything that we are taught from the time that we are born is about results. It's about getting ours and getting it now, not later. Imagine trusting God so much that even though you realize you may never see the results of your work for God, in this lifetime, you know that your work matters and that God will use your work for good. What does it take to have that kind of attitude? It takes hope. It takes hope. To we who are privileged and comfortable, this seems almost absurd. But for people who have lived on the margins, who work for a better world that they may never get to see, hope is everything. Hope. Too often the church forgets this. Our success is not defined by what we achieve. It is defined by how faithful we are to God. Our success is not defined by what we achieve. It is defined by how faithful we are to God. And I know that that statement alone has made some of you maybe running for the doors, but I believe that. You see, in America, we define success a certain way. To put it simply, by winning. Winners are successful, losers are failures. But the opposite is true in a faith where the last will be first and the first will be last, where the greatest among you will be your servant. All who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all who humble themselves will be exalted. By our American standard, Jesus himself was an unmitigated failure. But by the standard of faithfulness, Jesus was the model of success. The hope that we experience in Christian worship is grounded in faithfulness, not some twisted idea of success. The prolepsis in our communion liturgy that says, "By your Spirit, make us one with Christ, one with each other, and one in ministry to all the world, until Christ comes again in final victory, and we feast together at his heavenly banquet," proclaims this hope. It says, even though we may not be here to see it, make it so, dear Lord. In worship, we are shaped by a past event, that event being the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, that transforms our present reality and provides us with a future hope. In worship, we are shaped by a past event that transforms our present reality and provides us with a future hope. And good worship acknowledges not only the world as it is, but also reveals the future of God's promise. And it inspires us to take our place in creating that future. That is the heart of Christian worship. In week 1, I made the statement that God is the center around which our lives revolve. If that really is true, and if we really believe that, then hope. Hope. Because with God, there is always more to the picture than meets the eye. I quoted from the 19th century American poet Emily Dickinson in my sermon yesterday as well, from her wonderful poem, "This World is Not Conclusion." The poem ends with these words: "This world is not conclusion, a sequel stands beyond, invisible as music, but positive as sound. It beckons and it baffles, philosophies don't know, and through a riddle at the last, sagacity must go. To guess it puzzles scholars, to gain it men have shown, contempt of generations and crucifixion known." This world is not conclusion. Now, that does not mean that our role here on earth is to simply wait until heaven so we can have a party and things will be good. Our role as the church is to hopefully and prayerfully work for God's reign on earth as it is in heaven. Ever wonder why that line is in the Lord's Prayer? In worship, we learn to have hope that God is at work in even the small things that we do to benefit God's kingdom. In Christian worship, God fashions us into a people that hope for a new heaven and a new earth and commit ourselves to God to work to fulfill that hope. We preach to the hope, we sing to the hope, we pray to the hope. And we do all of this until we are filled with and shaped by the hope that comes from trusting that God is with us now and forever. Have a wonderful week, my friends. God bless.